Ah, there he goes.
My brother, hold on, let me get this set up the right way because I gotta treat you with the utmost respect, my brother. I apologize for my
I appreciate.
lateness. Oh, hold on. I apologize to all of the people out there who have been waiting to see this interview. My apologies to you all. Give me 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys for joining in. I appreciate it.
All right. There we go. My brother, my brother. Peace
How
and
are you?
blessings to you, my brother.
Likewise to you.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed. I cannot complain.
Awesome, man. I
How are
forgive me. Yesterday was wow. Okay. Um, yesterday, um, we were putting out some cryptocurrency fires,
you?
and
Hmm.
we got that taken care of. It's important for us to, um, to assist those people who have taken the class, and it was an emergency, so
Okay.
I wasn't able to do that. But I'm very very thankful that I could be on with you now.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time and energy. So, how are you? How have you been?
All is well. I give thanks to the Most High for all of my blessings. I give thanks for the busyness. I give thanks for, I'm going to make up some words. You know what I mean? I'm going to give thanks for, some of the contrast that's been helping me to grow. I'm giving
Hmm.
thanks for my blessings. I'm giving thanks for all of it because it's all culminating in where it's all working out for me. And so I have nothing but an attitude of gratitude for it all.
That's what's up. Love that energy. So, when you, let me stop. In this pandemic, what is the biggest lesson that you have learned?
Not to panic.
Mm.
um, I find that every truth is only a half truth.
Mm.
Um, and so, because the law of polarity exists, even when something is presented to you in a way where it seems like there should be dismay,
Mhm.
the other side of it is light and
Mm.
opportunity and blessings and under, over, and understandings. And so, if you can master yourself long enough to be still, you'll be able to receive the blessings of the clarity that comes, as
Mm.
long as you don't ride the horse of haste when it comes to the conversation of detrimental anything.
Mm. Very profound. Very profound. Why aren't you preaching or teaching? Why aren't you a professor somewhere? Like giving these guys. I'm
I
a
may
teacher.
not be a professor, but I am a professor.
I got it. I knew this was going to be a good interview. I knew it was going to be good. So let's go back in time. Tell me about the first time that you were inspired artistically. What was that?
I was 5 years old. I was watching James Brown
Mm-hmm.
on a black and white television.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the Jacksons. They had a television special. I remember watching Danny Kaye. Most people won't even know who he is, but
Mm-hmm.
my brother Dessler will know. You will know. Um, but Danny Kaye, um, MGM musicals like The Wizard of Oz or West Side Story, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching the Commodores perform when I was younger. Brick House, right? Diana Ross and the Supremes, Marvin Gaye. Like I was so blessed to be able to be in the middle of that as a child and
Mm-hmm.
for it to have an effect on me that would speak for me even now.
Right.
And that artistic space and place resonated with me in a way that would afford me the opportunity to speak in its language
Mm-hmm.
and to use its pronunciation to um, communicate with people all over the world.
That's dope. And
And
what
I didn't
age?
know that. And I didn't know that when I was younger. I just knew that the vibration, the frequency of it spoke to me.
Well, that was your absorbing period. You were absorbing everything that you were experiencing. So when did you start putting it out? When did you start knowing that you had the ability to inspire other people?
Um, I don't know that I knew that. It was more of me being selfish. It was more of me focusing on what made me feel good, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like children do something and they have fun at it and they go, oh, that was fun. I want to do
Mm-hmm.
this,
Right.
right? Let me, that was fun. What else is next? That was fun. What else is next?
Right.
Right? And so I find that it was in me saying that was fun. What else is next? Right? And so as an adult now, I'm finding that space again. That was fun. What else is next?
Got
And
it.
I think if more people got tuned in, tapped in, and turned on to that, the things that they would find to be difficult would no longer be, because they would have been afforded the opportunity to shake off those so-called issues or problems or resistances that they are calling to themselves by focusing on it. If they
Mm-hmm.
focused on what felt good more of the time, they they wouldn't be so focused on what doesn't feel good. And I think that that is most people's space of resistance that they create for themselves.
Wow. Wow.
Because most people aren't focused on you; they're focused on themselves. It's just that you're focused on them.
Mm. That's
So
so true.
because you're so focused on somebody else and what somebody else thinks, says, or is doing, you're not paying attention to the information being given to you or is around you, right? You're only looking, you're only seeing, so vision can't come in. You're keeping the vision away from you because you're so focused on what you see.
Wow. That is so true. That is so true. And and during that time when you were saying, "This is fun. What's next? This is fun. What's next?" Are you picking up what it's doing to other people? Are you seeing the reaction at that time and acknowledging what it is?
Now I do, right? In my
Oh,
adult life, because I understand energy and frequency. And so the same way you could walk into a room and go, ooh, something don't feel right. That's energy.
mhm.
That's frequency. It's the same way that I know when I'm omitting either a high frequency or a low frequency, right?
Mm.
And you omit that frequency before you physically get there. It's in front of you, right? It's behind you, it's on the sides of you. And so I find that when it's actually happening um, within me, I know the resonance of it. So I know when people are being inspired by it. Some people can be in the midst of it and not be aware of it because they're not open to it,
Right.
right?
That's so.
You can have so much dirt on your glasses you can't see out of them anymore, right? So you could eat so much junk food that you don't know what good food tastes like,
Right.
right? Or
That,
you could fill your cup with a liquid, but it could be poisonous to you. And so I find that most people are intaking information that doesn't serve them in their greater good. And so it is not my job to, or my position to worry about what people are thinking or how people will use the information. The Most High will take care of that. My
Yes.
position is just to deliver it and to be in a space and a place where I'm clear enough that the message can come through. Very much like right now, like this very, very moment right now.
That's so dope. What came first? Which talent came first? What did you gravitate toward first?
Dance,
Dance. Dance was first. Why dance?
dance, dance.
Why?
It was the vibration of it. It was, you know, that drum. Boom. It was that. It was the rhythm of it. It was the strength of that that 8-tone frequency. It just spoke to me.
Mhm.
And I had to move. It wasn't something that I thought about. It just was something that is, not was, is, always has been,
Yes.
always will be, right? So, you know, so many people, when they see me now, they watch my acting on The Family Business. They watch my acting on Double Cross or old movies like Stomp the Yard or TV shows like Soul Food or, you know, just whatever. But what they're watching is a residual effect of dance.
Hmm.
They're watching the residual of time and energy that I put into dance. And so it was just a transformation that happened into acting
Right.
once I was satisfied with the time, energy, focus, experience of dance.
But technically, you were already a proficient actor because of your dance. Dancing is acting as
Correct.
well.
Right.
Yeah. Singing
Because it's
vocal.
telling the truth.
Yep. Yeah. So, how old were you around when you started, like professionally dancing?
15 or 16. I started off with Scott Sterling, which, and I was in high school, which the world knows as DJ Scott LaRock from Boogie Down Productions.
Wow.
May he continue rising in power. Um, I started performing with him professionally,
Wow.
where we were performing and traveling throughout Vermont with KRS-One. When he
Hmm.
met KRS-One, when he was working in a homeless shelter and KRS-One was living there, we all were a group. And if you look on the back of the Criminal Minds album, it says BIA. That stands for B-Boys in Action. And it was, you know, about 5 members. And I was one of the founding members.
So that's like hip hop legend, hip hop royalty. During that time, being 15 and in the midst of all that, do you really, not that you would fully understand what it would turn into, but did you know at that point in time that you were creating and doing something great?
Yes.
Did it have
The,
the feeling
the vision
that,
of it. The vision
yeah,
of it, because the vision of it came from the Jacksons, Michael Jackson. The vision of it came from James Brown. And I just knew that I was so inspired that I could turn on and watch anything they did. And it was incredible. And so I literally worked within the energy of that. You know,
hmm,
I there's something about pretending that's so powerful that most people don't understand. You know, like when I used to watch Breaking with Michael Chambers, Boogaloo Shrimp, or Shabba-Doo, Adolfo Quinones, may he rise in power. It
right,
was something about me pretending I was Boogaloo Shrimp or dancing like him or trying to really duplicate the energy that he had in Breaking that would put me in the position that he was in.
right,
There's something about taking on, look, Jennifer Lopez, when we met her, she played Selena. May she rise in power. Hello? Do I need to say more? What happens is when you tap into something that is so energetically palpable, you're now in alignment with it.
yes.
And so through the law, it says those things have to happen. It's called the law of attraction. And so it's about doing those things or being those things
Mm-hmm.
that allow you to experience those things on that level and even higher, because you truly get tapped into something that's beyond the physical. And I knew
Yes.
that early on. I knew that by the way I felt. I knew that by the goosebumps I used to get. I knew that by people's reactions when I danced, when they watched me. And so I knew I was tapping into something that was powerful,
Yeah.
and it felt good. And that was what mattered. It felt good. And because
So
it felt good, I kept doing it.
at 15, so during that time, you're bringing home money, like performing. You're making a wage, right?
Yeah, it was probably, if I remember, I think it was something like we had to split a $500 check between the three of us, right?
Okay.
So
Still for 15, that's a lot of money.
yeah, it was like $1,700 a piece. Like, I mean, I mean, $700, $750 a piece, a little bit more, whatever. It was. I mean, I just remember. It was just. It was so amazing that it wasn't about the money.
Yeah, because you love to do it.
Yeah, it wasn't about the money. It was never about the money. It was a little less than $200 a piece, and I was like, I'll do this for free,
Yeah.
because there was something about the experience of performing in front of hundreds of people. And then by the time I was 18, I was performing in front of 16,000 people. While I'm on with you, Chike, I want to show you something. This is so fun. This is from my book, Intimate Thoughts and the Spirit of Change.
Hmm.
And there's a picture in here. When I was 18, I had joined Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. At
What?
that time, they had a group called Live Action Squad, and I traveled with them. And if you could see, this is the picture of the group. This is me here. And if you can see that, I look a lot like Boogaloo Shrimp did in
Yeah,
the
you
movie
do.
Breakin',
Yeah, you
right?
do.
And this is a group called the Live Action Squad, 7 guys from the Bronx. And by the time I was 18, I was traveling all over the United States. And then the following year, I lived in Japan
Mm.
and learned Japanese because of dance. Because of dance. It took me across the world. Because of dance, I was performing in front of 16,000 people twice a day. Because
Yes.
of dance, I met people from Hungary, from Romania, from China, from Germany, from Russia. I had friends, international relationships because of dance.
Wow.
I mean, you know what dance does for you.
Shout out your book again. They wanted to know what your book was called.
The book is called Intimate Thoughts and the Spirit of Change. Um, if you're interested, the link is in my bio on Instagram. You can just click on that link and get my book anytime. We ship every day, actually.
So to answer your question, yes, I do know what dance feels like. I too got my start like dancing for hip hop groups. And there is a freedom that comes along with that. Being on stage and giving all that you got to the performance and soaking up the energy from the crowd and the bass of the music. It takes over your soul.
Yeah,
Spiritual.
it's an unspoken communication. You can get into a circle like we did back in the days and
Hmm.
just get at it,
Yeah.
and allow the music to move you. And
Yep.
it was an expression and a communication and a form of information that spoke for us. If we never used a word, we just danced, that was the
Mm-hmm.
communication, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, from Soul Train to American Bandstand to Club MTV to any dance show that has ever been on, it's been a form of entertainment that people love to watch because we get to see people's body language and we
Yes.
get to see how they communicate to the world. And I think that's one of the most interesting things is, what do you have to say?
Yeah. I like
You
that.
know?
So back to this Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey business. No one knew that. Like the circus. What made you join the circus?
Freedom.
Ah.
It gave me, I didn't want to go to college, had no desire. It wasn't something that was in my desire. I wanted to travel the world. Like I I I left home at 16 years old. You know, I slept on my other brother's couch. You know, Antoine Dr. Pop Judkins. From 16 until I graduated high school, I slept on his couch. His mother, you know, I had some hardships going on at home, and I decided to leave home at 16. I was on my own at 16. And she said, "You can stay here, but you have to graduate." And I said, "I will." And I slept on her couch until I graduated high school, you know?
Wow.
And and I wanted to make something of myself. I wanted, you know, to make everybody proud, you know? My, you know, I mean, I had love for my mom. There was never a question of that, but you know, we had some hardships.
Right.
And it was certain things that I felt like as a man child that I didn't want to go through anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
so I decided to man up. And I felt like I was man enough to take care of myself. I felt like I had enough, you know, knowledge and wisdom to make the right choices. And when I was 18, I said, I want to make my own money and I want to travel. And that's what I did. And within a 2-year period, I was living in Japan, you know, making more money than I had ever made before,
Wow.
traveling all over Japan, you know, with the circus. That was my 9 to 5, performing. It wasn't the circus, it was performing.
Mm.
It was learning how to work within a group. It was learning how to be on time. It was learning how to have responsibility and respond to my ability. It was about how to learn different languages. It was about how to be cultivated. It was about how to create more opportunity within the infrastructure that I had to work in.
Yeah. And at this point, you have a new family. Like the circus is your family.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. The circus members. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It was it was learning how to juggle and ride unicycles and learning how clowns spent 2 hours putting on their makeup and why.
Mm.
The discipline of it all made a huge
Yeah.
difference, you know?
And
Watching
how
one
long
of
did you
the,
stay with the circus?
say it again,
You stay with them.
2 years. One
Okay.
year in USA and 1 year in Japan.
So
Yeah.
when you're done with the circus, then what do you do? Like you've done that, and then what do you transition to from the circus?
I came back home to America and joined a show called Club MTV. And I was on that for a while with Downtown Julie Brown. Shout out to all the Club MTV fam. And then I think within the year that I was 21, I literally was blessed because I met Shabba-Doo on the Donahue show because the Club MTV cast members, they picked like 7 of the hottest dancers.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, there was a Broadway show called Oba Oba. It was some dancers from Brazil that were performing. And Shabba-Doo was choreographing for Madonna at that time. And I met him and followed him around like a puppy. And, you know,
Wait, talk about that for a little bit. I mean, this guy's your idol. This is who you look after, for your
yeah, he
dance.
was ozone and breaking, right? Like he
Yeah.
was ozone. And
What is it like meeting him and having that influence? Like,
I
what was that
followed him
like?
around like a puppy. And at that time, I had my Jerry curl. Again, I looked like Turbo, right? And I remember I had on my Francois Jabot outfit. It was baggy at the time, my dance form. And he was like, come on. I went back to the hotel. He talked to me, told me stories. And he was like, do you speak Spanish? I started speaking Spanish because I speak Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yo soy moreno, pero yo hablo español, tú sabes. Claro que sí, ¿verdad? Okay, now we got that out the way, right? He said that I fit the description of a character in a show that was coming to Broadway. Shabba-Doo really set me up. He called the director, Ron Link, may he rest in peace, and said, I think I found your Carlos Cruz. And I auditioned for a Broadway show at the age of 21 and booked it. I was on Broadway at 21 years old in a show called Stand Up Tragedy at 21. So at 16, I leave home. 18, I graduate. 19, I'm living in Japan. By the time I'm 21, I've already been on a Broadway show. What?
Handpicked by your idol, nonetheless. That's crazy. That's crazy.
My life is so amazing and spectacular and has been so blessed. And then a few years after that, you know, I gotta give him his roses. Lionel Martin, Classic Concept Productions, which most people won't know about, but you know all the videos they did for BBD, Boys to Men, Bobby Brown. I mean, if you had a hot R&B music video in the 90s, Classic Concept Productions, and Lionel Martin was probably the director who was directing it. Wow. He called me because he had a new artist on Def Jam named Don Newkirk. Mm-hmm. The song is called Sweat You. He said, I want you to choreograph this. I'm going to pay you $1,000. I was like, what? $1,000 then bought you probably what $10,000 buys you now.
Yeah.
And so I called the Dessler. I called Doc. I called June Ambrose, who was in the video, dancing at that time. I called all the heads that I knew, and I choreographed Sweat You, and it was the very first music video that I choreographed. Don Newkirk, Sweat You. Go look it up on YouTube, y'all. And then after that, I just kept getting calls. I got a call for a new group that was going to have a song in a movie called New Jack City. Didn't know who they were. One member looked like Kenny G. The other member looked like George Michael. The other member looked like Terrence Trent D'Arby. Color Me Bad. The song was called Sex You Up. Yeah. I choreographed Sex You Up. Then I get a call for a group that had hot videos and hot songs already. They was doing a new song called She's Playing Hard to Get. High five. I choreographed She's Playing Hard to Get. One of the members didn't make it, so I played the fifth member of the group. So when you see She's Playing Hard to Get, you'll see me all over the video. Like, again, I just, you know, I was just doing what I love to do. You know, we did a video years ago by an artist called MC Rel and the House Rockers. That was the very first music video I danced in. And it was called The Future. And he sounds just like Rakim. Like, if you listen to his voice, he sounds just like Rakim. We shot that video for 12 hours. It might have been 5 below zero on the east side by the East River. Me and Doc was in that video. We did it for free. We were freezing. But we were in one of the first biggest music videos out there. That's why we did it. We did it to be seen. We did it for the exposure. We did it to get put on. We did it because we loved it. And we did it because it was what we were supposed to do. People always ask you, what's your purpose in life? Well, if you follow your passion, you'll always find your purpose.
That's quotable.
We just followed our passion.
And so, at what point in time did the acting kick in? When did you decide, okay, but you were acting in the beginning, you were on Broadway. That's
Well, yeah,
acting.
but it wasn't my love. It was something that I did because it was Broadway. Like to
Yeah,
have a Broadway credit at 21 years old and be like, oh, I've been on Broadway. Like in a hit show where you have people now still in their 50s, 60s, 70s have never been on a Broadway show. I did it at
right.
21, right? So it's like, wow. Like I had my after card, you know, I had my Screen Actors Guild card, you know, like my equity card. Like, what? It's bananas, right? But I wasn't in love with acting. That's not what I wanted to do. So after that show closed, I went straight back to dance.
Mm.
I was on a mission to get to Michael Jackson. I was
Uh-uh.
on a mission. And, you know, I mean, one job led to another job, you know, then I did SWVs, So Into You. Right Here was their first video I choreographed, Right Here. And then I did So Into You. And then I did this other SWV video that had Redman in it, but we shot it in like a graveyard. It was a little weird. It was a little off. So that's not one that really kind of hit it off. You know, it was called Lose Cool or something like that. But
I remember that song. I remember that
yeah,
song. Yeah.
um, but like I said, it was, you know, it was a heavy video. We shot it in a real graveyard, you know. So you know, and then the Lisa Lisas came along, the CNC Music Factories came along, the Things That Make You Go Home I choreographed, the Lisa Let the Beat Hit 'Em, Donna
Yeah.
Summer came along, George Michael came along, choreographing for him, you know, and then Montel Jordan, I danced for him. And we were doing the Nutty Professor. So when you see Montel Jordan in the first Nutty Professor, that's me and Hi-Hat and Tony Michaels and Kim, and we're dancing. And during a lunch break, we were on Universal Studio lot. I took a walk. Everybody's like, where you going? I was like, I'm gonna walk. I've always been a loner, right? So I just took a walk. And I went by myself and I wind up walking on the set of Scream.
Wow.
Michael Jackson Scream, and I met Travis Payne there.
Mm.
And I was like, what are you guys, you know, doing here? He was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm working with Eddie Murphy and Montel Jordan, and, you know, this is what we're doing. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm not supposed to tell you, but we're filming Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson's new video. And I was like, what? So long story short, I spent the hour there, had to run back to set. But by the time I got back, I had Travis Payne gave me all of this Scream swag. I had the sweater, I had the bag, I had everything Scream.
Wow.
And
All
so when
the
I got,
futuristic clothing that they had.
yeah, when I
Wow.
got back to set, they were like, where were you? I was like, I was on Michael Jackson's set. They were like, yeah, right, whatever. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed me. And as the story goes, we were still on tour. Travis said that an audition will come up in September.
Mm-hmm.
Late August, I was having some problems on tour because of Montel's wife and some miscommunications. And I said, I'm going to work with Michael Jackson. And they all laughed at me. And so I quit the tour.
Mm.
And she was like, you're going to quit the biggest artist in the world right now, Montel Jordan? This is how we do it? I was like, yeah, I think I am. And I left. And I was thankful to be on the tour. But like I said, by the end of the tour was some miscommunications going on. And I auditioned and booked a tour with Michael Jackson to film the History video.
Mm.
And I'll never forget, we went to do it. We went to Hungary. We shot the video in Budapest.
Mm-hmm.
Then we came back to do the MTV Music Awards that everybody else would see in 1995, where we were performing Dangerous.
Mm.
And I'll never forget, I remember when I was coming down from the rafters and I took my place on stage, we were performing Dangerous. I remember seeing Montel Jordan's wife go, "That's Darrin." I remember seeing her from the stage. And as I'm performing, I'm like, "Yup, I told you." You know what I'm saying? But it was like, the most amazing part was that was a macro second of what was happening. Because as I was coming down, you could actually hear Michael screaming, "Oh!" Like, even though the music was playing, he was getting busy before. And you could hear him. When I'm telling you, my body and the goosebumps that was all over me coming down, when you could hear that music and you could hear him, man, if you could measure the energy in light, it would have been bright as the sun. You wouldn't have been able to look,
I
because
got
we
good.
were just glowing.
Wow.
It was amazing. I mean, oh, you could just hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And the feeling that I got, I mean, I was praising God. I was giving thanks to Michael. I was giving thanks to the ancestors, all at the same time, man. It was just, it was just incredible. You know, like, my dream had come true. My whole life I had dreamed, literally
Yeah.
of being with him, and the dream had come true. And so, you know, Chike, there's something to say about believing in your dreams. You know, something to say about it.
Yeah. I put a post up the other day and it said pretty much your intent is the seed that you plant for your flowers.
Facts.
Everything, it's all about the intent. Whatever the intent is, that's what your outcome is going to be.
Facts. It's the seed.
Yeah.
You know, you got to plant the seed. Once the seed is planted, the roots come out of that. And the roots have to grow before the fruit goes. So the root comes before the fruit. And if you want to eat the fruit, then you got to wait for the roots.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the roots are the intentions, right?
Yep.
The intention. The soil is the energy you put behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And the elements are what waters it. And like everything, time tells all truths.
Yep.
And so it's within that time period, the patience and equally the action. They must both be working. You must be patient, but give action,
Yep.
which is your energy to it. And your intention and your belief and your knowing will help the manifestation of it. So the root comes before the fruit.
I already knew that you had this big career before you came on my radar. You became on my radar during the soul food time, but I had already known that you had a career before then. Um, Getting into acting, was it a fish out of water experience, or was it like, oh yeah, I can do this too?
Honestly, it's going to sound like bragging, and I'm not. I'm just really confident about what I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really good at dance and choreography. And so what I just simply decided to do was transfer the energy from dance and choreography to acting. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, it was just about being. See, we're not human doings. We're human beings. So I just knew to be. And
Mm.
so when I got the role of Lem Van Adams, I knew that dude. I grew up around that dude. I saw that dude. I studied that dude. So I could just be that dude. And the great thing was, and I'll never forget Tracy Edmonds saying this, she said one of the reasons why we loved you for the role is because so many people auditioned for this role, but they didn't really know what the word empathy meant.
Mm.
There was a scene that I auditioned with for Uncle Pete. And Uncle Pete was the old uncle that people never got to see, and he was senile.
He lived in
And
the back of
Kenny
the
and
house.
I, yeah, and Kenny and I were playing basketball. And Uncle Pete was lost outside, and he comes outside and he's like, Lem, take me home. And the way other people played it, they played it thug-wise, street-wise, and was irritated by him. But he's an old man, and he's
Mm.
senile, and your job is to take care of him and make him feel loved and at home.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy. And so that's what I did, because street dudes ain't hard 24 hours a day. They take off their hat when they walk in their mother's house. They take
Yeah.
off their shoes, right? And so that's how I played Lem Van Adams. I played the human qualities of him, not just the street.
Right. That show was probably, not probably, it is one of the best shows ever on television.
I
In my
appreciate that. And I agree. I mean, it's 21 years old in June. Wow.
wow,
It's
wow,
21 years old in June. Soul
and
Food.
holds up, and holds up. It's still weighted. It still has weight to it.
You know, I watch all these other shows get rebooted, and I'm like, why wouldn't they reboot Soul Food? It's a no-brainer.
What happened? Because it seemed like it didn't, like toward the end it just didn't get its just due, and it was just like ripped away. Like one day we went to go tune in,
Well,
and it
it got caught in politics. This is what happened, and this is the truth. Shout out to
just.
Vanessa Williams, whose born day is today. Taurus season still in effect.
That's
God bless
right.
you, Vanessa. Um, Simply, the heads showrunners who were presidents at Showtime changed, and they were like, "We didn't bring this show in, so we're not keeping it."
Wow.
That was it. The person at the head changed, and they were like, "Well, I didn't bring that show in, so get rid of it. It doesn't need to stay." And they brought in just a bunch of new shows. That was it. Technically, Soul Food could have went on for 10 years, and there was no reason for it not to. I mean, it was just as strong, I think, from a dramatic perspective as the Cosby Show was from a comedic and family perspective.
I agree. And I would say even more so for soul food, just simply because for me, it was the first time that I saw people that looked like me deal with real situations on TV. That was the first time I ever saw that. You know, we had shows like Good Times, but even though that was supposed to be someone's reality, I couldn't relate to their reality. That wasn't me. That it showed a life, but personally, I got sick and tired of them not being able to do better. They were just stuck there. Like, come on, people do better than that in life. They do.
I think though in the 70s, because I grew up on Good Times. I grew up on Good Times. I grew up on the Jeffersons, right? I grew up on the Love Boat. Um, I you know, I Barney, what was it
Barney
called?
Miller.
Barney, huh?
Barney Miller.
Barney Miller. Um, you know, and I remember the damn Florida Evans.
Yeah.
You know, I remember, John Amos, snatching Jimmy Walker's neck. I remember the power that came from, the character Michael and his, pro-blackness and his pride. And I remember the teachings of that. And I remember the beauty of, you know, Bernadette Stannis as Thelma, and Penny, you know, Janet Jackson. And, you know, I remember, you know, these characters. I think it was Delona, right?
Alone.
Delona.
Yep.
May she rest in peace. Janet Dubois. Um, and they spoke to me. I remember watching the Jeffersons going, Black people can be millionaires too.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I remember that. Sherman Helmsley, you know, being this guy that didn't play those games and having money and having, you know, what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And still dealing with levels of difficulty because of his arrogance sometimes, but we always learned the lesson. But I remember feeling empowered by all of those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember years ago when I met the actor that played Michael on Good Times, and I was in such awe of him before I had ever become an actor. And he was just, I was like, wow. He lived in the Bronx, actually.
Yeah. Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter. A
Yes,
lot of people look at Michael and look at that as being the character on television, but Mr. Carter was really that guy. Like
facts,
he was Michael.
facts,
Yeah, I learned a lot from him. He was
facts.
close with one of my aunts, and my aunt was a Pan-Africanist. And her and Michael, I mean, excuse me, Mr. Carter, they were really, really cool. And I got
Facts.
to meet him several times.
You said word.
Well, I don't think they're in connection too much anymore.
Oh, okay, okay.
Wow.
I was like, oh, um,
Yeah. No, no, no.
um, you know, so I mean, I give thanks, man, for all of those people who came before me, and I just have so much gratitude. You know, I sit here, I constantly read this book. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've read The Alchemist. You know, and and it's so funny. I mean, so many books that I read, powerful books, they're the same color. Like, look,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that, and I said, wow. Oh, wow, it's very interesting. You know, so this book is called Dynamic Thought. This is, man, this one right here. Whew, man. Anyway, um, you know, I'm thankful for all of those people who, you know, blazed the trail so I could be.
Yes.
And, you know, like you, I'm thankful. You know, I've seen you perform, man, you know, and I see your passion, and I see your connectivity. And, you know, I said, you know, I mean, you know, we didn't even open probably how you normally open. We just kind of got right into it because of you know, of my tardiness. But you know, I'm thankful to you and for you for this platform. I don't take it lightly that that you would even be interested in talking about me or sharing, you know, our stories or information, you know, on this platform, which I give thanks, you know, whoever created Instagram, you know,
All
because
right.
now we can touch bases all over the world, and people all over the world can tap in. And
Right.
so I pray that this live will be able to touch people, you know, long after today. And, you know, the information that we suggest in it be one that people understand that what they feel and what they think matters. And
Yeah.
nobody has to tell them that if they're a person of color, that their Black life matters. Of course it does. That's why they're here.
That's right.
Um, and that it's not over, because everything works out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out, it's not the end, right? And always remember, we go through it so we can grow through it, so we can ultimately glow through it. Because
Yes.
if you afford yourself enough time to just breathe and relax and not be reactive, you'll receive the blessings
Yes.
of the patience and the awareness from not being reactionary,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
just watching and listening and breathing your way through it.
That's right. The nutrients is in the journey.
Yeah, yeah. Because, you know, whether it's a house you want, whether it's a car you want, whether it's an amount of money, once you get it, you're not going to be satisfied, because one of the 6 human needs is growth. It's one of the 6 human needs.
And the biggest part of life is change. There's no
Yeah.
way you could stay the same if you wanted to.
Yeah. That's the constant. You will
Yeah.
change, but will you change for the positive or the negative? Because
And
you will change. Nothing stays the same. So those people who always say, I'm the same person I was, 10 years ago, first of all, that's a sad statement. Second of all, it's not a true statement because you're not the same. Everything is changing. Even your skin is shedding. Your cells are rebirthing, right? But either they're growing healthy or unhealthy. Nothing
right.
stays the same. And so it's the constant in the universe. And so it's better for us to change through our connectivity of consciousness than to be unconscious and change in ways that we're not even aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Like my partner and I teach a cryptocurrency course, right? And it's on blockchain. And anybody that's on my page that watches my stories, they know this. We post every day, day in,
Mm-hmm.
day out. We've helped made a couple of millionaires in the last 5 months. One off of Ethereum, one off of Dogecoin. And we tell people it's changing right before you. Cryptocurrencies are here to stay. So if you're just focused on fiat, which we call dollars, right? Fiat currency or flat currency or promissory notes, you might not want to just solely focus on that. You might want to focus on what's happening around you. And you
Mm-hmm.
might want to be educated in how best to perform in
Mm-hmm.
today's markets now and in the future. We call this your new opportunity window, NOW, now, new opportunity window. And so it's a great space and time to do what? Grow.
Right.
Mentally, financially, right? Economically. Um, you've got to change because everything does. Everything does.
Yeah. Family Business is back on the 18th.
You know
Every
what's exciting about that is so many people weren't able to see it when it went to the streaming platform on BET Plus
Why?
because you have to pay for it. It's a
So
it's a streaming platform. So all the original episodes are on BET Plus, right? The show started out on BET and then it went to the streaming platforms. But now you can watch it on BET starting May 18th. So you just had to wait about 6 months to see the show, but now you get to see it without watching, it on the streaming. But when the third season starts airing, it'll air on the streaming platform, and you'll probably have to wait another 6 months to watch it on the regular BET. But it will be on.
so I have to ask you, like one of my favorite actors in the world is Mr. Ernie Hudson. What is he like in real life? Like,
He always plays serious characters. He's funny as hell. That man has comedic beats like you would not believe. He's funny and one of the kindest and most giving humans I've ever met. I say he's a human, right?
mm,
HUEMAN, right? Because his energy is just so palpable and beautiful. And he's so giving and loving.
that's cool.
Um, he's been in this industry since I think 1970. And
Yeah.
so his stories, I just sit next to him sometime and just listen when I talk to him. I mean, I'm so blessed. And then the relationship that I have with him is so amazing because I play his son on the
Hmm.
show, but at the same time, he fathers me in real life, you know, which
That's
is
dope.
great that I can call upon him for information or, just things that he may have gone through already that I have yet to go through.
Right.
So it's so beautiful.
That's good. That's good. So I'm not going to keep you too much longer, but I wanted to ask you this. I'm going away. I'm going to be pinned away for 7 months. I need 5 movies from you that I need to watch and 5 books that I need to read.
Wow. Um, 5 books. The Alchemist, 1. Even if you read it, read it again. Dynamic Thought, 2. Intimate Thoughts and the Spirit of Change, 3. The Richest Man in Babylon,
Mm.
4. And either the Bible, the Holy Quran, or the Tao.
Mm. And 5 movies.
5 movies. The Express.
Mm.
Uptown Saturday Night. West Side Story.
Mm.
Wow, this is a good one. Bridges of Madison County. Last movie. Oh, watched it yesterday. Monster on Netflix right now. With Jennifer Hudson, Jeffrey Wright.
Mm.
Watch that movie, Monster.
I'm going to watch that tonight.
Oh, oh my goodness. Yes.
Mr. Darrin Dewitt Henson, I appreciate you for your time and your energy, brother. I will say this about you. Anytime that I've come to you and I've asked you to be a part of any production that I'm a part of, you always tell me yes. You never tell me no. And I am so appreciative, brother. And I believe someone was definitely inspired by this interview today because you kicked out some church. And I solely appreciate it. Big blessings to you, brother.
Blessings to you as well, my brother. Again, I'm thankful to you and for you, and I pray that the Most High continue to bless you, cover you, give you longevity and prosperity, and give you your heart's desires. And I pray that the people that are watching this, again, utilize. Remember, it's just not about resources, it's about being resourceful.
Yes, I appreciate you.
Blessings.
Have a good
Give
one.
thanks. You too, brother.